No one raised their voice. No one insulted anyone. And yet, by the end of this conversation, one man would disconnect, not because he was silenced, but because he was exposed. The screen split cleanly down the middle. On the left, Prince Harry framed tightly from the chest up, wearing headphones that pressed slightly into his ginger hair. A professional microphone hovered just below his chin. Behind him, a carefully curated backdrop, neutral tones, soft lighting, a hint of California calm. It was the look of someone who wanted to appear grounded, reflective, at peace. On the right, Sam Harris seated in his familiar studio, bookshelves stretching upward behind him like quiet witnesses. No dramatic lighting, no attempt at warmth, just clarity. The distance between them wasn't just geographic. It was philosophical. "Thank you for doing this," Sam began, voice even and measured. "I appreciate you taking the time." Harry nodded, a polite half-smile forming. "Of course, I think these conversations are important. Especially now." Sam inclined his head slightly. "That's actually a good place to start." There was a brief pause, just long enough to register as intentional. "You've shared a great deal of your life publicly," Sam continued. "Your pain, your experiences, your perspective. Many people feel deeply connected to that story. I'm interested in what you think that sharing does, both for you and for the people listening." Harry leaned back a fraction, shoulders relaxing. This was familiar territory, safe ground. "I think speaking openly about trauma removes shame," he said. "For too long people, especially men, were told to stay silent. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to pass that silence on." Sam listened without interrupting. His eyes stayed steady on the camera, not Harry. "That makes sense," Sam replied. "But I want to separate two ideas that are often conflated. One is explaining suffering. The other is justifying actions through suffering." Harry's smile flickered slightly. "I'm not sure I follow." Sam didn't rush. "When someone hears your story, they may feel empathy. That empathy can be valuable, but it can also become a shield, something that prevents scrutiny." Harry straightened. "Are you saying my experiences shouldn't be questioned?" "No," Sam said calmly. "I'm saying they shouldn't be weaponized." The word landed heavier than it sounded. Harry exhaled through his nose, a soft laugh escaping. "I don't see my life as a weapon." "I'm sure you don't," Sam replied. "Most people don't when they're holding one." The silence that followed was longer this time. Harry adjusted his headphones, eyes narrowing, not in anger yet, but in calculation. "I've spent my entire life under a microscope. Everything I do is scrutinized. So when I finally speak in my own voice, yes, I expect people to listen." Sam nodded. "Listening is easy. Understanding is harder." Harry leaned forward slightly, elbows near the edge of the frame. "And you think people don't understand me?" "I think," Sam said, choosing his words with surgical care, "that many people identify with your pain. But identification is not the same as truth." A faint crease formed between Harry's eyebrows. "My truth is my lived experience." "Of course," Sam agreed. "But lived experience doesn't automatically translate into moral authority." "That did it." Harry's jaw tightened, not dramatically, but unmistakably. "So what is this?" he asked. "An interrogation?" Sam didn't blink. "It's a conversation, but not a flattering one." The distance between the two screens suddenly felt enormous. Harry looked off camera for a brief moment, then back again. "I agreed to this because I believed it would be constructive. I believe it still can be," Sam said. "But only if we're willing to examine the role narrative plays in identity." Harry frowned. "Narrative?" "Yes," Sam said. "The story we tell ourselves about who we are, and what that story gives us permission to do." Harry crossed his arms. "My story didn't give me permission. It forced me to act." Sam tilted his head slightly. "That's an interesting claim." "Why?" "Because it removes agency." Harry stiffened. "You don't know what it's like to grow up the way I did." Sam nodded slowly. "You're right, I don't. But suffering explains behavior. It doesn't absolve it." The words hung in the air, sharp and immovable. Harry's voice remained controlled, but something underneath had shifted. "This feels less like curiosity and more like judgment." Sam replied immediately. "Discomfort isn't judgment, it's information." Harry stared at the screen, lips pressed together. For the first time since the call began, he didn't respond right away, and in that pause quiet charged. The conversation crossed a line it would never return from. The silence stretched just long enough to become noticeable. Harry finally spoke, his tone calm but clear. I think what you're doing is abstracting real pain into theory, and that's convenient, because it keeps you emotionally removed. Sam nodded once. That's a fair accusation, but distance can also clarify, or dehumanize, Harry shot back. Sam didn't flinch. Only if the humanity exists solely inside the story. Harry blinked. What does that even mean? It means, Sam said, leaning back slightly, that when identity becomes inseparable from narrative, any challenge to the narrative feels like an attack on the person. Harry's shoulders tightened. So now I'm hiding behind a story. No, Sam replied. You're living inside one. The words landed heavier than any insult could have. Harry let out a sharp breath. You know, it's easy to say things like that when you haven't spent decades being defined by others. Sam's voice remained steady. But you're still allowing definition, just with different authors. Harry shook his head. I reclaimed my voice. Did you? Sam asked. Or did you trade one script for another? Harry leaned forward, hands briefly entering the frame as he gestured. You're talking as if everything I've said publicly is calculated. I'm talking as if repetition creates reinforcement. Sam replied. And reinforcement creates identity. Harry stared at the screen. You're psychoanalyzing me. I'm examining patterns. Sam said. There's a difference. Harry laughed, but there was no humor in it. This is exactly the problem. People like you intellectualize pain until it becomes sterile. Sam didn't respond immediately. When he did, his tone sharpened just a degree. And people like you moralize pain until it becomes untouchable. The temperature changed. Harry's eyes narrowed. Untouchable. Yes, Sam said. If pain cannot be questioned, then any action taken in its name becomes sacred. Harry's voice dropped. Are you suggesting my choices are beyond criticism? I'm suggesting, Sam said evenly, that they're often defended from criticism. Harry folded his arms again, jaw set. You talk about agency, but you ignore context. I don't ignore it, Sam replied. I just refuse to let it excuse everything. Harry shook his head slowly. That's a privileged position. Is it? Sam asked. Or is it a responsible one? Harry paused, then said quietly, You don't understand what survival looks like inside an institution. Sam leaned forward now, mirroring Harry's posture for the first time. Survival is not the same as perpetual grievance. The word grievance hung in the air like smoke. Harry's face hardened. That's unfair. Why? Sam asked. Because it feels dismissive. Or because it threatens the narrative. Harry's breathing became visible. He reached up and adjusted his headphones as if they had suddenly become uncomfortable. I walked away from everything I knew. Family, country, legacy. Sam nodded. And you brought it all with you. Harry stared. That doesn't even make sense. It does, Sam said softly. Because you didn't leave the story. You exported it. Silence. Not dead air. Charged air. Harry swallowed. So what do you want from me? Silence. No, Sam replied. I want coherence. Harry scoffed. From whose perspective? From yours, Sam said. Right now, you oscillate between victimhood and authority. Harry's voice sharpened. I earned my authority through suffering. Did you? Sam asked. That's a dangerous metric, because it implies the most wounded voice should lead. Harry leaned back, eyes flashing. You're dismissing lived experience again. No, Sam replied. I'm placing boundaries around it. Harry shook his head. You keep talking like this is a philosophical exercise. It's my life. And yet, Sam said, you chose to make it public. Harry froze. Sam continued, calm but relentless. Public stories invite public analysis. You don't get control without consequence. Harry looked off screen again. Longer this time. When he returned, the warmth was gone. I think this conversation has lost its balance, he said. Sam met his gaze. I think it's found it. Harry exhaled sharply. You're not listening. I am, Sam said. I'm just not agreeing. Harry's voice rose slightly. Then what's the point? Sam answered without hesitation. To see whether your identity can survive disagreement. The words hit like a quiet detonation. Harry stared at the screen, eyes hard now. Not hurt, not confused, but angry. For the first time since the call began, his voice carried an edge that couldn't be smoothed over. "Be careful," he said. Sam raised an eyebrow. "About what?" Harry didn't answer right away, but something in his expression said the conversation had reached a place where care was no longer on the table. "Be careful." Sam didn't raise his voice. He didn't smile either. "That sounds like a warning." "It's a boundary," Harry replied, jaw tight. Sam nodded slowly. "Boundaries are good, but they're not substitutes for answers." Harry leaned forward again, elbows just out of frame. "You keep framing this as if I owe the public intellectual consistency." "You owe yourself consistency," Sam replied. "The public will decide what to do with it." Harry scoffed. "That's easy for you to say. You operate in hypotheticals. I live with consequences." "Everyone does," Sam said. "The difference is how honestly they account for them." Harry shook his head. "You're flattening everything." "I'm simplifying," Sam replied, "because complexity has become your shield." Harry's eyes flicked to the side, then back. "You're very comfortable dissecting people from a distance." Sam tilted his head. "Distance isn't cruelty. Confusion is." Harry laughed again, sharper now. "So now I'm confused." "You're conflicted," Sam said. "And you're treating conflict as persecution." The word landed hard. Harry's voice rose. "That's insulting." "No," Sam said evenly. "It's diagnostic." Harry straightened in his chair. "I didn't come here to be diagnosed. You came to be understood," Sam replied. "Those aren't always the same." Harry pointed toward the camera. "You keep repositioning yourself as neutral." "I'm not neutral." "I'm consistent." Harry's eyes narrowed. "Consistent with what?" "With the idea that suffering explains behavior, but does not sanctify it." Silence pressed in. Harry spoke slowly now, measured but tight. "You don't get to tell me what my pain authorizes." "I'm not," Sam replied. "I'm telling you what it doesn't." Harry leaned back abruptly. "This is exactly why people don't trust intellectual elites." Sam didn't blink. "Because they don't offer absolution." "Everyone judge," Sam said. "The question is whether the judgment is principled." Harry shook his head. "You keep acting like this is some abstract moral chessboard." "It becomes abstract," Sam said, "when personal grievance replaces universal standard." Harry's voice cracked just slightly. "Universal standards are a luxury." "No," Sam said softly. "They're a necessity." Harry stared. "For whom?" "For everyone who doesn't want power to be decided by proximity to pain." Harry exhaled sharply. "So what? You're saying the loudest suffering shouldn't matter." "I'm saying it shouldn't rule," Sam replied. Harry stood halfway, then sat back down, visibly restraining himself. "You're talking like someone who's never had their life dismantled in public." Sam paused. "That's not true." Harry looked surprised. "Oh, I've had my views dismantled," Sam said, repeatedly, "and I survived by changing them." Harry laughed bitterly. "That's not the same." "No," Sam agreed. "It's harder." The room, 2 rooms, felt suddenly smaller. Harry removed one ear cup, then replaced it. "You're enjoying this." "I'm committed to it," Sam replied. "There's a difference." Harry leaned closer to the mic. "You keep accusing me of clinging to narrative. You return to it whenever the ground shifts." Harry's voice rose. "Because the ground keeps shifting. Because you won't stop shaking it," Sam replied. Harry stood fully now, pacing just out of frame. "This is absurd." Sam watched calmly. "What's absurd is demanding immunity from scrutiny, while insisting on moral authority." Harry turned back to the camera. "I never demanded immunity. You demand difference," Sam said. "And you confuse it with respect." Harry's eyes flashed. "That's not fair." "Fairness isn't the metric," Sam replied. "Truth is." Harry shook his head, breath quickening. "You don't get to define truth here." Sam leaned forward. "Neither do you." The words collided. Harry stopped pacing. He stared directly into the lens, voice low and sharp. "You invited me here under the pretense of dialogue. And we're having one," Sam said. "No," Harry snapped. "You're prosecuting." Sam exhaled. "If that's how disagreement feels to you." "Stop," Harry said loudly. The first real interruption. Sam paused. "Go on." Harry pressed his palms together. knuckles whitening. You're framing everything I say as manipulation. I'm framing it as pattern. Sam replied. Because patterns matter. Harry leaned closer to the screen. You don't know me. I know your words. Sam, and I know how often they protect you from being questioned. Harry's voice broke into anger. You're twisting this. Sam didn't move. I'm holding it steady. Harry's breathing was audible. This is not why I agreed to this. This is exactly why you needed to. Sam replied. Harry stared, stunned. Then quietly, and dangerously, he said, You think you're above this? Sam shook his head. I think I'm accountable to it. Harry tugged at his headphones. I'm done being talked over. You've spoken more than anyone here, Sam said gently. Harry laughed, sharp and humorless. Unbelievable. He stepped back into frame, eyes blazing. This conversation is going nowhere. It's going somewhere you don't control. Harry's hand hovered near the console. Last chance. Change the tone. Sam looked straight ahead. I won't change the truth to spare your comfort. Harry froze. For a long second it looked like he might end the call right there. Instead he leaned in. Voice cold. You don't get to define me. Sam answered quietly. Then stopped trying to control the definition. The connection crackled. Not technically, but emotionally. Harry's finger hovered above the control. The decision he was about to make would turn this from tense into viral. You keep saying truth. Like it's neutral. Harry said. Truth has power. Sam nodded. Which is why it needs restraint. Harry laughed once. Hollow. You're lecturing me about restraint. I'm reminding you of it. Sam replied. Harry leaned forward. Eyes hard. You sit there. Insulated. Books. Microphones. Distance. And you think you understand the cost. Sam didn't flinch. I understand the danger of exempting oneself from scrutiny. You're doing it again. Harry snapped. Doing what? Positioning yourself as the arbiter. I'm asking you to apply the same standards outward that you demand inward. Harry's jaw tightened. That's not possible. Then say that, Sam replied. Don't dress it up as moral clarity. Silence. Harry exhaled slowly. You wanted honesty. Yes. Fine. Harry replied. Here it is. He leaned in, voice dropping. I'm done letting people dissect my life for intellectual sport. This wasn't sport. Sam said softly. It always is. Safety isn't the same as comfort. Harry removed one ear cup and let it hang. This conversation has crossed a line. Sam didn't interrupt. You invited me to speak, not to be cornered. You weren't cornered. Sam said. You were questioned. On your terms. Unshared ones. Harry stood, chair scraping. No. This is over. Sam looked into the camera. Before you go, don't, Harry said sharply. Just one sentence. Harry hesitated. Sam spoke anyway, measured and clear. If your story can't survive honest disagreement, it isn't protection, it's fragility. Harry stared. For a brief moment, anger gave way to something else. Exposure. Then his face hardened. You don't get to decide that. He reached forward. Good luck with your podcast. The screen froze for a heartbeat. Then the connection was lost. Sam sat alone in the studio. The hum of equipment filled the space. He didn't rush to speak. He simply looked at the empty frame where Harry had been. Finally, he said quietly, almost to himself, when conversation becomes unbearable, power has already been challenged. He removed his glasses. The episode ended, not with outrage, but with absence. Within minutes, the clip would spread, not because of what was shouted, but because of who chose to leave. The most revealing moments aren't the loud ones. They're the exit.